Rob Reiner finally speaks the truth about Carroll O'Connor at the age of 78. Robert Reiner was born on March 6, 1947, in the Bronx, New York. He grew up in a house where telling stories, performing, and being creative were all part of everyday life. Carroll Reiner, his father, was already a huge name in comedy. He wrote and acted on renowned shows like Your Show of Shows, and then making The Dick Van Dyke Show. Young Rob learned a lot about comedy, timing, and narrative by growing up in that milieu. It also gave him a natural knowledge of show business, but he would later create his own unique style as a filmmaker and performer, separate from his father's work. Reiner became famous as an actor in the early 1970s when he played Michael Meathead Stevick. In the iconic TV show All in the Family. He played the liberal son-in-law who was often at conflict with Archie Bunker, who was played by Carroll O'Connor. The show used humor to talk about serious topics including race, politics, gender roles, and generational conflict, and it became one of the most talked about and socially relevant shows of its time. Reiner's performance got him a lot of praise and admiration. Not only was it a career-defining job, but it also gave him the confidence and exposure he needed to move on to other creative projects. Even though many actors would have been typecast after such a famous TV role, Reiner instead became a filmmaker with a wide range of skills. This is Spinal Tap, a cult hit from 1984, was his first time directing, a fake documentary that has now become one of the best comedies ever. It was different because it had a very biting critique of rock culture and was delivered in a deadpan way that made some people think it was a real documentary. Reiner's ability to find humor in both outrageous and true situations was shown in the movie. This became a trademark of his career. After that, Reiner directed a lot of movies in the 1980s and 1990 Seconds that were both critically and commercially successful. One of these was Stand By Me, a 1986 movie based on a Stephen King novella that gently dealt with friendship, death, and the transition from youth to maturity. It is still one of the most moving coming-of-age movies ever created. After that, he made The Princess Bride in 1987, a movie that broke the rules of its genre by combining fantasy, romance, comedy, and adventure. It didn't do very well at the box office at first, but it became a cult classic and is today one of the most adored movies of all time. When Harry Met Sally, a romantic comedy from 1989, showed off Reiner's range once more. Its funny dialogue changed the genre, realistic look at relationships and iconic scenes, including the famous diner scene. The movie was a big deal in the culture and helped him build his image as a filmmaker who could mix humor with deep human truth. He then starred in the tough military trial drama A Few Good Men 1992, which showed that he could handle high-stakes drama just as well as he could manage humor and romance. One of the most famous lines in movies, "You Can't Handle the Truth" by Jack Nicholson, is in this movie. It has become a part of American pop culture. People first noticed how versatile he was when he starred in the dark comedy Throw Mama from the Train 1987, which also starred Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito. This offered Reiner a chance to show off his great comic timing. In Nora Ephron's 1993 romantic classic Sleepless in Seattle, he played a role that gave humor and humanity to the story of love and second chances. This showed off his range as an actor. Woody Allen then used Reiner's talent for strange comedy by casting him in Bullets Over Broadway, 1994, when he showed that he could do well with quick, funny language. From there, Reiner appeared in a number of movies in the 1990s that solidified his reputation as a reliable and likable supporting actor. These include The First Wives Club 1996, the political drama Primary Colors 1998, and Ron Howard's satirical look at reality television EdTV 1999. Each performance was distinct in tone, yet they all showed how well Reiner could change to any tale he was in. Reiner also acted in several of his own movies, often giving himself parts that let him make fun of Hollywood while simultaneously moving the story along. His most famous self-casting is still as fake documentarian Marty Debergy in This Is Spinal Tap 1984. The cult rock mockumentary he directed that became a classic in the world of humor. He later played roles in The Story of Us 1999 and Alex and Emma 2001, where he matched humor and sentiment. He also played a more serious role in Shock and A 2017, which was about reporters looking into the Bush administration's rationale for the Iraq War. These performances showed how easily he could switch from being funny to being serious without ever feeling out of place. Reiner has often been willing to make fun of his public image even when he wasn't acting. He had fun appearances in comedies like Dickie Roberts' Former Child Star 2003, where he made fun of himself, and in 30 Rock 2010, when his appearance was a sly nod to fans who recognized him as both an insider and a satirist of Hollywood. He later won over a new generation of fans with his recurring role on the television show New Girl, which lasted from 2012 to 2018. His character provided depth and warmth to the show's colorful cast. In 2013, he shocked people by playing a part in Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street, where he held his own with Leonardo DiCaprio in a movie full of energy, volatility, and great acting. Reiner has persisted to remind people of how important he is, even in recent years. He started the primetime CBS spectacular Dick Van Dyke, 98 Years of Magic in December 2023 with a poignant tribute and an on-camera interview with Dick Van Dyke himself, connecting generations of entertainment history. The event reminded viewers that Reiner is not merely a part of Hollywood's story. He is a living link to it, between the golden period of TV, the revolutionary movies of the late 1900s, and the changing face of entertainment today. Rob Reiner has had two important marriages that changed not only his family but also the direction of his artistic career. Reiner married actress and director in 1971, while he was at the height of his stardom as an actor and before his directing career had taken off. Penny Marshall. Marshall was already a well-known person in the entertainment business. She was known for her humorous charm, and her career was on the rise. Later, she would become famous for her work on the popular comedy Laverne and Shirley and for being a trailblazing female director in Hollywood. Their marriage put two very creative people who were both extensively involved in the entertainment industry under the same roof. While they were married, Reiner formally adopted Tracy Reiner, Marshall's daughter, from his first marriage to Michael Henry. Tracy was born in 1964. Tracy would go on to become a successful actress, starring in many well-known movies as A League of Their Own, Apollo 13, and Die Hard. Rob Reiner and Penny Marshall got divorced in 1981 after 10 years of marriage. Yet their relationship was still very important. Not only did it change Tracy's life, but it also brought together people in Hollywood's artistic community. Both of them were still important people in the film and TV world even after they broke up. People still remember their time together as a time when two groundbreaking artists shared both their personal and professional lives. Rob Reiner's personal life took another important turn a few years following his divorce. As he was making one of his most famous movies, Reiner met photographer Michelle Singer while shooting the 1989 love movie When Harry Met Sally. Their meeting was a happy accident that changed Reiner's life and even the movie itself. Reiner says that his relationship with Singer made him want to rewrite the movie's original finale. At first, he wanted the two main characters, portrayed by Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, to break up without getting back together romantically. But after falling in love with Singer, Reiner changed his mind and decided to offer fans the now famous happy ending that helped make When Harry Met Sally one of the best romantic comedies ever. Their relationship grew into a lifelong collaboration, not just because of the movie. That same year, in 1989, Reiner married Michelle Singer. They formed a family together and had 3 kids. Jake, who was born in 1991 and would eventually follow in his father's footsteps by becoming an actor. Nick, who was born in 1993, wanted to be a writer and has been open about his emotional problems, which even inspired Reiner's 2015 movie Being Charlie. And Romy, the Reiner family's youngest child, was born in 1997. Reiner often says that Michelle has brought joy, balance, and a new sense of purpose to his life, and their family life has been stable and loving. His marriage to Michelle Singer had a big impact on one of his most renowned movies, and it also gave him the stability and motivation to keep working in Hollywood for a long time. Rob Reiner has had a lot of amazing adventures in Hollywood. He is now a well-known filmmaker, actor, and campaigner. But one of the most important and influential times in his career was when he worked with Carroll O'Connor, the famous actor who played Archie Bunker on All in the Family. Fans have been wondering for years what the relationship was like between Reiner, who played the liberal son-in-law Michael Meathead Stivic, and O'Connor, was the prejudiced yet oddly beloved patriarch Archie Bunker. Reiner, who is now 78, has talked publicly about their relationship, putting to rest both rumors and misunderstandings. Reiner thought back to the early days of All in the Family with a mix of astonishment and heartfelt respect. Reiner said, Carroll O'Connor was one of the smartest actors I've ever worked with. People don't often know how much of that position comes from his amazing intelligence and ability to think things through. Archie Bunker could have been a cartoon character, merely a one-note caricature, but Carroll made him human. He made him more interesting. He turned Archie into a person you detested but also strangely understood. That was Carroll's smart idea. There were rumors for a long time that Reiner and O'Connor didn't get along since their characters were on opposite sides of the political and generational divide. Some viewers thought that the heated arguments on television were like the tension in real life. Reiner made this plain. We didn't fight when the cameras weren't rolling. We didn't dislike each other. Not at all. We cared a lot about each other. Carroll was like a teacher to me. I learned a lot just by watching him work. He could control a situation with just a look or a pause. I was in awe of him. Reiner did say, though, that it was scary to play against someone as powerful as O'Connor. I had to be at my best every time I worked with Carroll. Without uttering a word, he made me want to do better. He was such a great actor that you had to do your best to keep up with him. The show itself talked about contentious issues including racism, sexism, war, and politics, and it often led to heated arguments all around the country. Reiner praised O'Connor for being brave enough to take on that job. Carroll understood precisely what he was up to. He knew Archie was going to get on people's nerves, and he liked it. He said to me once, if people aren't uncomfortable, we're not doing our job. That stayed with me for the rest of my career. That idea that art should not only make you feel good but also make you think has guided me as a filmmaker. Reiner also talked on O'Connor's personal life, saying that he was very thoughtful, warm, and even shy. Carroll was considerably different from Archie when they weren't working. He was nice, gentle, and always reading. He was smart. People who only knew Archie Bunker would be startled to see the real Carroll. He loathed racism. He loathed everything Archie stood for, but he played them so honestly that people sometimes got confused. But Carroll never got confused. He was very sure of where he stood. Reiner and O'Connor stayed friends over the years, and Reiner said that O'Connor had a big impact on his life even after all the family members were gone. He taught me that you can make people think by making them laugh. He taught me that an actor's responsibility is to make people feel things, even if it makes them uncomfortable. I took it with me when I directed movies like Stand By Me and A Few Good Men. That's Carroll's effect right there. Reiner thought about it when he was asked what one thing he wanted the world to know about O'Connor. In fact, Carroll O'Connor was one of the nicest people I've ever encountered in this field. People saw Archie and thought that Carroll could have a little bit of that in him, but he didn't. He was kind, helpful, and really cared about other people. People sometimes got the wrong idea about him because he was such a powerful persona, but Carroll was nothing like Archie, and I feel really happy to have met him. Rob Reiner's words mean a lot because he has had a long and successful career, and his tribute to Carroll O'Connor not only clears up past misunderstandings, but it also shows how an actor's work still has an impact decades later. Reiner just said, I loved him. He wasn't just my co-star. He was also my teacher, my buddy, and one of the best.